Hey besties, welcome back because the Bates fandom is in full detective mode and the clues are getting loud. First up, Katie posts what looks like an innocent sweet moment. Her holding a little one's hand, but there's another adult hand in the shot. And the comments instant CSI Instagram. Is that a man's hand? Is that Travis? Is that a ring? We can't ID a person from a hand, but the timing, that's why everyone thinks it's a message. Meanwhile, Alyssa drops a photo labeled January. And who's right? Beside her? Katie in Florida at night, palms in the background. And fans are treating that one word like a timeline marker. How long was Katie there? And what does it say about where she's been leaning lately? Third, the internet is relitigating the romance, the song, the surprise trips, the big gestures. Except now people are asking if it was sweet or strategic. Comment sections are split into camps. It's just influencer TV romance versus no, it's optics and image control. And people are not holding back. And finally, the headline making conversation. Katie wanting to preserve her marriage. While viewers argue if staying is strength, pressure, or survival in a strict belief system and what forgiveness looks like when trust is shattered. Heavy, yes. But it's exactly why this story has everyone talking. If you're ready, hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell because we're breaking down the clues, the timelines, and what's actually confirmed versus fandom theories. Hold up. Katie. Bates Clark just posted one innocent photo, and the internet immediately turned it into a full-blown relationship clue. And I mean direct. Fans already think Katie and Travis are in a messy watch like a Hawk chapter. So even a tiny detail like a hand in frame hits like a headline. Okay, so let's get into what actually happened. Katie shared a sweet family-style moment. She's walking, holding a little one's hand. And there's another adult hand visible, too. That's it. No captions screaming, "We're back." No big statement, no tag. But within minutes, the comment section detectives clocked the same thing. That extra hand looks like it could belong to a man. And people instantly started asking, is that Travis? And once that question lands, it's game over because now the photo isn't just a photo. It becomes a soft launch, a quiet confirmation, a blink and you miss it reunion. Now, to be fair, and this is important, you cannot 100% identify someone from a hand alone.
Instagram is
not a fingerprint scanner. But fans aren't reacting only to the hand. They're reacting to the timing and the context. Katie's been under a microscope lately with viewers treating every post like it's a relationship status update. So, when a photo shows what could be a man's hand, the fandom reads it as intentional, whether it actually is or not. In the reactions, you can basically see three camps forming in real time. Camp 1 is convinced it's Travis. They're saying things like, that's his hand, and pointing to details they think match, like the vibe of the outfit, the shoes, and especially the talk about a ring. Once someone says ring, it spreads fast because rings are the ultimate symbol people look for when a couple's status feels shaky. Camp 2 is the slow down crowd. They're like a hand is not a marriage announcement. They argue it could be a friend, family member, or even just an accidental frame from a bigger photo dump. And they're also pointing out something practical. Even if it is Travis, that doesn't automatically mean everything is magically fixed. Couples can be in the same place for a lot of reasons. Co-parenting, family routines, trying to work on things quietly, or just keeping life stable for their kids. And then Camp 3 is the emotional one. The people who aren't even debating the identity anymore. They're focused on what it means if Katie is staying. They're talking about self-worth, what message it sends to kids, and how hard it can be to leave when you were raised. In a culture where divorce is treated like failure, and forgiveness is expected fast. That's why this tiny image feels heavy to so many viewers. It triggers bigger fears about patterns, pressure, and whether happy family content is being used as a band-aid before real healing happens. So, yes, maybe it's just a hand, but in a fandom this invested, a hand becomes a headline. Fan temperature check. People are split between this is her quietly confirming they're together again, and this is exactly how you get dragged back into a situation before trust is rebuilt. Stick around because the hand photo is only the beginning of the timeline puzzle. Next up, Alyssa Bates Webster drops a January photo with Katie in Florida, and fans think it changes everything about where she's been and who she's been with. Alyssa Bates Webster just posted one January photo with Katie Bates Clerk in Florida, and the fandom instantly treated it like a time-stamped receipt. Katie's been under intense relationship. Screwed me lately. So when Alyssa drops a throwback labeled January, fans read it as a timeline clue where Katie really was, who she leaned on, and what was happening behind the scenes. Here's what went down. Alyssa shared a photo dump 5 post, and one image is clearly stamped with the word January. In that shot, Alyssa is standing outdoors at night, palm trees in the background, dressed up like it's a dinner stop or a quick sister night out. And right beside her is Katie. Immediately, viewers started zooming in like the caption was a coded message. And the reason this blew up isn't because sisters hanging out is shocking. It's because this specific sister hangout appears to place Katie in Florida at a very specific time, and it collides with all the online theorizing about Katie's marriage, her recent vibe shift, and where she's been spending time. In other words, fans weren't just seeing a cute photo, they were seeing a breadcrumb. Over on fan spaces like Bringing Up Bates, the comments split fast. One group basically said, okay, so Katie was in Florida in January. That's telling. They started connecting it to other moments they believe line up, other posts, other sightings, other gaps in her usual routine. And then the conversation turns into what it always turns into, timeline math. People asked whether Katie was there for a quick visit, a longer stay, or something more like a support trip where she needed distance, family backup, or a reset. Then you've got the second camp.
Hold on.
Are we sure this isn't an old photo? Because a few commenters swore they'd seen a similar pose or similar shopping plaza at night vibe before. And they suggested Alyssa might be posting an older memory now, either because she's in her throwback era or because she wanted to show quiet support without addressing anything directly. But then, plot twist, people in the thread pointed out that Alyssa labeled the photos as being from January, which basically slammed the gas. Pedal down on the speculation. And of course, once it's really January, the next question fans ask is, where was Travis? Some people brought up that Katie has posted content that appears to include Travis around that general time frame, like a Disney-style photo dump vibe. And they argue that could suggest they were together for at least part of the month. Others argue it could mean nothing more than a normal family visit, New Year's, sister time, a quick getaway because married people can travel separately or visit family without it being a crisis. But the bigger subtext here is the Alyssa-Katie dynamic. Fans have debated for ages whether they're super close or just friendly when convenient. So seeing Alyssa post Katie with a clear timestamp reads to some viewers like she's showing up for her. And if the internet thinks someone is going through it, any sister photo becomes a support mission headline. The spicy speculation is that Alyssa didn't post January by accident. Fans think it was either a subtle confirmation of Katie's Florida timeline or a quiet way to say she wasn't alone. Keep it locked because the timeline clues get even messier from here. Next up, the fandom is rewatching Katie and Travis's fairy tale romance and asking the brutal question, was it love or love bombing? After the hand photo chatter and the January and Florida timeline theories, the fandom is now rewinding the romance itself, asking if those grand gestures were genuine or strategically timed optics. Here's what sparked this latest wave. A post circulating in the Bringing Up Bates fan world where someone says they rewatched Katie and Travis's engagement episode because they just visited Key West and recognized the exact locations. They name-dropped the dreamy spots like Chasm Marina and The Reach. And on the surface, it's all sunshine and romance. But then the poster drops the brutal question. Does Travis love bomb Katie? They point to the big highlights fans. Remember, Travis writing her a song before the engagement, the polished storybook setup, and then later the surprise London trip that was framed as this swoon-worthy grand romantic moment. And the poster's tone is basically, my heart breaks for her. Because what if those gestures weren't just love? What if they were guilt, damage control, or a distraction? Now, let's be crystal clear. What follows in the comments is not confirmed fact. It's internet commentary. People mixing personal experience with what they think they see on camera. But it still matters because it shows the temperature of the fandom. Right now, in the replies, you can feel 3 themes explode. Theme 1, big gestures, cold vibe. Multiple commenters argue that Travis's romantic moments look great in edits, but they don't feel consistent warmth in everyday interactions. Some bring up wedding footage as an example, saying he seemed low emotion, like he hit his marks for the camera, but didn't look deeply
moved.
Theme 2, reality TV plus influencer life changes everything. A lot of fans say we have to remember production influence. Proposals on these shows aren't always purely organic. There can be planning help, storyline shaping, and pressure for a TV-worthy moment. So, a handwritten song or a dramatic proposal doesn't automatically equal love bombing. It can also equal content. Some commenters even suggest the romance can start to feel like marketing if the relationship doubles as a brand. Theme 3, the London trip, wasn't a true surprise. This is where people get very practical. Commenters point out you don't just randomly whisk a mama internationally without childcare schedules and planning. So they argue it may have been pre-coordinated, possibly content-driven, and Travis just got the on-camera credit. That interpretation turns romantic surprise into optics moment. And for suspicious viewers, optics moments read as manipulation. And then, of course, the thread dips into rumor territory. People throwing around cheating language and shorter thand like AP, sparking side arguments about terminology and whether it softens what they think happened. Again, these are comment section theories, not proven facts. But the emotional takeaway is consistent. Fans are feeling a mismatch between grand romance and relationship energy. So, the core question viewers keep circling is this: is Katie being loved or being managed? The spiciest speculation is that the fairy tale moments hit hardest because fans think big romance can be used like a band-aid right when trust is shaky, so people second-guess their gut. Next up, Katie says she wants to preserve her marriage after cheating allegations tied to a miscarriage story. And the comment wars are unreal. Here's what's lighting up the fandom right now. People are reacting to a headline framing Katie as trying to preserve her marriage amid claims of infidelity tied to an already heartbreaking season of life. And whether you're team fight for your marriage or team absolutely not, the comment sections are war zones.
A
huge chunk of viewers are responding from a place of raw empathy first. They're saying, imagine going through a pregnancy loss, then hearing cheating rumors or allegations swirl around your relationship. People keep repeating the same point. Grief plus betrayal is a double hit. Then you've got the hardline camp. No softness, no nuance. Their argument is basically once trust is broken, the marriage is permanently changed. They're using phrases like the bond is broken, the cloud never leaves, and cheating is non-negotiable. Some even predict cynically that staying teaches there are no consequences, so it could happen again. But the next camp pushes back with something that's way more complicated. Life isn't always black and white. These commenters keep bringing up kids, finances, faith pressure, family expectations, and the reality that divorce can make life harder, especially in conservative communities where the social cost can be brutal. This is where people start talking about why it's hard to leave, not just why you should. And then there's the belief system angle that keeps surfacing in the discussion. Viewers claim Katie's religious world puts massive pressure on wives to forgive, to keep the family together, and to avoid divorce at all costs. Sometimes even implying blame shifts towards the woman. People are referencing sermons, cultural expectations, and comparisons to other well-known fundamentalist marriages as examples of women being expected to endure. Important note, those comparisons are coming from commenters and are used to explain why fans think Katie might stay, not as proof of what's happening behind closed doors. What's also fueling the fire is how quickly online chatter turns accusations into everyone knows. So, let's separate what's real versus reaction. The preserve her marriage framing is what's being discussed, and everything else is being argued through a mix of fan interpretation, rumor talk, and personal experiences people are projecting onto Katie's situation. That's why the discourse feels so intense. It's not just gossip. It's people reliving their own stories through hers. The spiciest divide is this. Some fans see preserve as strength and commitment, while others hear it as pressure, fear, and a community that punishes women more than men.